All right, so welcome back to the Soul Searching Experience Luxury Retreat. Now let's take a look at what this is all about. So in the Soul Searching Experience, we're talking about finding life's guidance, live your dream, and be a leader of change in the world. And so I've made the introduction before. This seminar is not a seminar where I'm going to give you a whole lot of information and frameworks, and then you're going to look up in your booklet where the presented information, at what page it is on. It is really about conversations that we have with each other and extracting the learnings out of each conversation and making them applicable and reliably applicable to everybody in the call, to everybody in the live event, in the live seminar. So Soul Searching Experience live seminar. So we're going to start with about 30 to 90 minute introduction of everything that is the information that you need to learn in order to take maximum insight home from this seminar experience. Find your life's guidance, live your dream, and be a leader of change in the world. So for being a leader of change in the world, this is the line that I've wrote as the motto, whatever the slogan, to be a leader of change in the world. That basically means that you're leading your own life first of all, and then you can be a leader of change in the world as well. Finding life's guidance. Life is guiding us. This is one of the three main topics of the Soul Searching Experience Luxury Retreat. The first topic, or the first kind of theme of the seminar, the area of focus that we're working on, is finding your sense of direction in life, finding out where you want to be going in this lifetime, who you are, and what you are all about. Because once you know, okay, this is who I am, this is who I'm not, these are my unique strengths that I have and that I'm leveraging here in this lifetime, it makes it so much easier for you to win. And every information that comes your way and that is being evaluated, when sensation is being evaluated, it becomes perception. Once that happens, you can relate it to the path and purpose that you're on. And realistically in life, oftentimes it is not so that you will find your sense of direction in life immediately and then everything is clear. It is more that the steps appear as you're stepping through the fog. And so the general outline of where we want to be going, this is good enough. This is truly enough of a starting point. And so today we're going to get back and following up on all of the leads, which is great. Speaking it through, speaking it into existence as we go. And becoming a YouTuber and putting in the hours into all of that. I'm so happy and grateful for Jen Spark helping me talk through all of the learnings that I've made here so far as I am talking to all of the people that I'm talking to and as I'm calling all of the people that I am calling here. And this is great. Soul Searching Experience, Soul Life Seminar. So find your life's guidance, live your dream, and be a leader of change to the world. Take the actions that we need to take in order to live the life of our dreams. Life changes through action and through action taking only. But if it were so easy, all of us would already do it. So the question is then, why don't we take the action? Because there are more invisible forces of life that affect our action taking. And you know that that's true. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how things are, but I'm sure that you can verify that as a truth of life. That if you're affected by hunger, by sleep deprivation, or even by other invisible forces that could be a poisoning of some kind, like food poisoning, you are very much affected. And you don't really see it from the outside, although the skilled viewer can see, especially somebody who knows you, that you're not doing very well. But if you are hungry or if you're really dehydrated, people usually don't see that. Now you see it a little bit, but it's like it's not that we can immediately see that. Or when you're totally isolated and starving for human connection, which has been a part of my journey certainly. When you feel totally mentally exhausted, these are all invisible forces that affect somebody, right? The time of the day that it is, and yeah, whether you have a balanced diet or not. So there are many other factors that impact our ability to take action. And so once we're taking the right actions consistently over years, we will eventually end up at the life of our dreams, especially when we learn to say no to the things that we're currently afraid of saying no to, because we think that that would lead to some certain deprivation, which might be true, but then it is important to go through this time of withdrawal and find a different vehicle, because the way that it tends to work in the human psyche, and you can verify that for yourself, is that we have vehicles with which we meet our needs. All of us, we have human needs. As I said, we have to drink, we have to eat, we have to sleep, we have a need for social connection, we have a need to engage our mental faculties, we have a need for physical exercise, we have a need, as I said, for social connection. We also have sexual needs that can be transmuted in other kind of ways. It doesn't mean that you always need to express all of that, but these are needs that we want to be mindful of and that we have, among other needs. There are also needs of the psyche for recognition, for example, for contribution, for creative output, right? If you don't do anything that feels creative and original to you, then there are imbalances that happen. And so the point being is that in taking the action, we will eventually get to the life of our dreams. But there are many more invisible factors that affect our action-taking capabilities. And so instead of trying to force something into existence, that is not to force changing your feelings and your thoughts, which there is merit to it, and there is a benefit to that by being able to change your state right now in the moment. But you also want to make sure that you generally have a life system set up that maintains you in balance. Because that was part of my story, right? Where I've realized that lesson of going to Tony Robbins events and realizing that I have the power to change my state. But then at some point, it wouldn't work anymore. I would just get more and more exhausted from it, because I did not have a life system set up that was healthy, like social connection. I didn't have a partner. I didn't talk to people. I was isolating myself, and I didn't do the right things consistently. Now, that was obviously very dumb. I realized it now in retrospect and in hindsight. But for a lot of people, it is more subtle. Exactly what we spoke about in the last video, that a lot of people also get their social connection exclusively from their spouse. So they go to work and they have a certain amount of social connection there, and then they come back home and their spouse really is there to meet their needs for social connection, which if you do that day by day by day, and you still feel this kind of subtle deprivation of not having as many friends or not having any time spending with friends that you usually would like to, then you get into imbalance. And then this is where you then see that your energy will drop slowly, subtly, little by little. And this is going to create a whole different life experience for you, right? Where you're then more prone towards negativity, you're less able to pull yourself out of a negative state, generally have less energy, because you're constantly living in the state of deprivation. Now, it might not be severe deprivation where you're totally dysfunctional, but it might be subtle deprivation where you're not energetically as full and as happy and as doing as well as you could if you had your life areas in balance, and the social energy, the influx and the exchange with other people of the social energy through good friendships, where also you can express yourself, where all of this is going and happening. And so with that, core methodology and philosophy, the foundation of transformation, the core principle, all we do is because the way it makes us feel. All dreams and desires come down to the longing for increased happiness. Now, here's the caveat to that. Obviously, as I said before, we have the capacity to put our feelings aside and do something just because it's our duty, it's necessary currently in this moment. And this is important both for men and women, right? When work needs to be done, when a person needs to be attended to, maybe a family member or a client, when a child needs to be attended to, then you gotta put your feelings aside and do what's right. It is a very important capacity, but when we overexert that and we don't engage with our feelings because we are afraid of these feelings, then we shut off our feeling capacity in general and all of it, right? Because we cannot selectively choose to not feel certain emotions and others we feel fully. That's the merit of living a life and having the courage to feel all of the emotions that are there. By feeling all of the emotions that are there. Because if you choose one emotion to selectively not feel, you shut off your general ability to feel, right? So these are the core principles. All we do is eventually, because of the way it makes us feel, even though we say, I'm not going to follow my feelings, I'm only going to do what's right and what needs to happen. We do that because we believe that that gets us to the life that we want, which will make us feel a certain way. It all really comes down to that we want a life that has certain emotional payoffs. Now, it might not be as straightforward and as simple and as primitive as just wanting the immediate gratification, but eventually, the way that you're orienting your life, you do so because of a way that it makes you feel, because of the avoidance of pain and the outcome and the outlook of pleasure that is to be gained. So happiness is joy and fulfillment. Joy meanings it is found through meaningful work that you enjoy and nourishing your relationships, following your heart. Fulfillment comes from inner peace, being okay the way that we are. Well, happiness is joy and fulfillment. Well, joy basically means doing things that we enjoy, where we get a dopamine hit or where we get good feelings from it. Fulfillment generally is an underlying sentiment underneath the spikes of emotions, which you can think of as a background on which emotions arise, right? The space in which the emotions arise. Fulfillment basically means, are we okay the way that we are, right? It's when nothing is there, when there is no interference with the natural state of being okay. And then if we have that fulfillment plus the joy, that is going to be very joyous. And so the question then is just, how do we get to this state of fulfillment? Well, first of all, we got to follow our heart. We got to do every day the things that are right for us, that are in alignment with the voice of our heart, with the intuition that suggests the path that we're walking on, right? What is right for us? Because our intuition gives us our very own bodily intelligence that knows best what we need, right? That gives us a piece of guidance. And so education and realignment. First of all, how life works, how you work, and then realignment, getting back into alignment with life's guidance. That's what the soul-searching experience is all about. There are certain principles of life, how they work, that when we understand that, we can work our lives differently. When we take different actions, as I said, then our life will over time change. How life works and how we work, that is very important. Well, one of those dynamics that we are going to be speaking about in the soul-searching experience is exactly what I've just explained. That we have the need for social connection so far, first of all. And so if our partner is there to meet that need, and if we get all of our social connection needs met only through our partner, we may get into imbalance. And this is one piece of interest and one piece of understanding and insight that somebody who attends the soul-searching experience can understand and can take from it. And then also how you work, right? So first of all, I think... all right, and back we are. And so, yeah, education and realignment. So this is the third part of the soul-searching experience luxury retreat, the alignment, getting back into alignment, not only with life's guidance, but getting into energetic realignment, an energetic alignment in your life. And so that's good enough for this video. The rest we will explore at a later stage.